Before this video starts, shout out to Ken the G for the video idea. It's greatly appreciated. So Evenly Matched has been a card that's been out ever since Circuit Break, the set from 2017. With that in mind, that's been a pretty long time for a card like this to be relevant in the TCG meta. And so with that, I have to ask the question, is Evenly Matched worth it in 2019? So to understand what this card does, we need to look at its effect, obviously. So it's a normal trap card, and it has the following effect. At the end of the battle phase, if your opponent controls more cards than you do, you can make your opponent banish cards from their field face down so they control the same number of cards as you do. If you control no cards, you can activate this card from your hand. So obviously the glaring factor with this card is how it can be activated from the hand. When you control no cards and you're going second, you can just move to the battle phase and use this card. Considering it's only good for going second, however, why would you want to use this card? I mean, consider like main decking it, for example, how if you go first, this card is completely dead in your hand. Well, the big appeal of this card is the fact that it can even out the playing field. If you activate Evenly Matched, you basically can deal with very hard to break boards. Some examples of this are the Thunder Dragon boards with 2 Colossus, 1 Titan, or 3 Colossus. Evenly Matched can take care of 2 of the fusions. Another example is if a Sky Striker player can go first against you and they set 4, have multi-roll, the field spell, and a link, literally just activate this card and you clear everything but one of their cards. This can be exceptional against back row decks, considering setting your hand and then dealing with an Evenly Matched can be a pain. Maybe not always for Altergeist, as sometimes they'll have Multi-Figure in hand and then they just activate Protocol, and then on the resolution of that chain where Evenly Matched was activated, you can summon Multi-Faker, and if you can't deal with the Multi-Faker, well, they may just have come back from that. As well, they'll still have 1 spell and trap afterwards. But to be fair, a blowout card like this is also amazing against stun decks, and it's still very effective against Altergeist. I mean, taking out 4 of their trap cards is still really good. So yes, this can be exceptional against back row decks. This card is also good against a deck like Prank Kids. Prank Kids is able to set their fusion spells and use it on your turn. However, the fact is if you just activate Evenly Matched, it literally forces out every single Prank Kid card they have. So Evenly Matched going second against Prank Kids is absolutely amazing, especially if you have Evenly Matched in unison with a card like Called by the Grave. If you can do that, they possibly lose the game from there. Why is 1 card kept? Well, because of the fact it's a trap card, it activates in the spell and trap zone, resulting in them keeping 1 card. Because you will activate it, it's in the spell and trap zone, and then at resolution, they will have to control the same number of cards as you, and because you control that Evenly Matched, they'll keep 1 card. But the fact is, this card is absolutely amazing. Sometimes this can be useful as they can control a monster which enables Cyber Dragon, Pankratops, etc. But other times it can be terrible because they get to keep that 1 card that really puts them back in the game. The fact that they can keep 1 card can possibly win them the game regardless of you basically getting rid of a ton of their resources. However, regardless of that, Evenly Matched is still very powerful. As well, Sky Strikers can technically come back from this, as usually they'll have some cards in hand. They still can keep 1 card. For example, if they activate their spells and traps before the Evenly Matched activates or on chain with the Evenly Matched, the multi-roll can activate during the end phase, and from there you'll get more spells back from the graveyard. Another issue with Evenly Matched is the fact you automatically give up your battle phase. Sure, this card is absolutely amazing in slower strategies, but there's a difference between this card in slower strategies and this card in faster strategies. For example, a deck like Rongo can technically play Evenly Matched because of the fact that they can just set up Rongo and then it's basically game over. However, to be fair, they probably would rather play a card like Red Reboot, for example, in order to just kill them that turn with a card like Boral Sword. As well, do you think anyone is going to ever use this card to set it and activate it instead of just using it from the hand? What do I mean by this? Well, the fact is this card is mainly dead unless you're going second and second, in which case it's only good for that turn. Because of the fact that going second, you will be setting up cards eventually, and going first, you're already going to have cards set up on the field. The only time this isn't relevant is when you just pass. But regardless, you're not going to try and pass purposefully. You're only going to pass in a situation where you do draw evenly matched and you want it to resolve, but you're going first, whatever. The thing is as well, setting it is really garbage, as you as well have to wait until the end of the battle phase to use this set card. And by that point, it might be too late, as you could have been OTK'd. So instead of setting it, why don't you just hold it in hand in case your entire field gets wiped? For the instances in which you do go second, evenly match is absolutely insane, however. The amount of resources you can potentially take away from your opponent is ridiculous. And that's why this card is a side deck card. You only want to see this card going second. In a sense, you can kind of compare this card to a card like Raigeki or Dark Hole. Raigeki and Dark Hole are both cards that really were good at dealing with annoying fields of monsters. However, now Raigeki and Dark Hole have been almost power creeped, as every deck has some way of protecting itself from those two cards. However, Evenly Matched is a card you really can't protect yourself from, unless you have some sort of negate or Trickstar Reincarnation or a more generic card like Mind Crush. Because remember, if your opponent moves to the battle phase while they control no cards, you can safely assume that they have an Evenly Matched, unless they're mind gaming you and are reading a Mind Crush, in which case they just next leveled you. But Evenly Matched does more in the game than cards like Raigeki and Dark Hole, as not only does it deal with monsters, but it also deals with back row. And I think that's very important to note. Raigeki and Dark Hole, to be fair, have been power creeped, again, specifically because they can't be used against decks like, for example, Thunder Dragons, Sky Striker. I mean, you can't play it against those two decks, but Thunder Dragons will protect themselves, and Sky Striker, Ray will come back from the grave. So it's not really that good in using Raigeki or Dark Hole. And so, to be fair, the comparison isn't necessarily accurate to say Evenly Matched is a 2.0 variant of Raigeki and Dark Hole. However, my point is, because it banishes cards face down, your opponent can't protect themselves with Destruction Protection, and thus this card has basically been superior to Raigeki and Dark Hole. To be fair as well, Raigeki and Dark Hole can be activated at any point, while Evenly Matched can't, but that doesn't change it being a good card, and most certainly a blowout at times going second. This card is even so good that some people will build a going second deck just because this card is that powerful. There are other good going second cards, but this card can be absolutely ridiculous in a deck that is trying to go second. I wouldn't necessarily say it's optimal to go second, but it most certainly is good if you draw this card, at least in this format where Sky Strikers, Thunder Dragons, and Altergeist are really prominent. But is Evenly Matched worth it? Well, I'm going to associate this card in the staple category of cards, making it always worth it. If you need to know why, then click on the video in the top right corner of this video to understand. However, to be fair though, this is a $90 playset, as this card is around $30 for a single copy at the time of filming. This card is similar to Borreload Dragon and Ash, as it is also getting reprinted in dual power. So what my recommendation would be is just dependent on what deck you're playing. If you're playing a combo deck like Rongo Turbo or any deck that can OTK, just play Red Reboot instead, as that card is far superior to Evenly Matched if your deck can OTK consistently. However, if you're playing a control strategy, even then you could wait on picking up this card until the reprint. We really only have 1 month until Salamangreats become a strategy, which in turn makes Evenly Matched less effective as the deck can set up many negates. So my final verdict, Evenly Matched is worth it, but I would recommend for every type of deck to just wait until the dual power reprint to make it around $10 or maybe a bit more, but that's besides the point. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoy. Leave your thoughts and comments down below with what the next video should be, and your video might just get picked. If you enjoy my videos and want to support me further than just watching my YouTube videos, go down into the description and support me on Patreon. It helps out quite immensely. As well, if you guys want to join me and other members of the Blade YGO community further than just the YouTube comment section, go down into the description and join my Discord server. I'd love to have you guys there. Thank you guys so much for watching this video, and with that, I hope to see you soon.